is the best cage for Lumix S5 Mark II. Stay tuned to find out why, because some of its versatility might surprise you. Hey everyone, Ritas here. Today I want to talk about this SmallRig black Mamba cage for Lumix S5 Mark II. And let me tell you, this cage hasn't been off my camera ever since I bought it a couple of months ago. And that's because it makes this camera so much better in every way. I've opted for a full kit that comes with a top handle and the cable clamp, and it costs 205 euros on Amazon at the time of filming. If you want just the cage alone, that goes for 120 euros. In order to get the camera into the cage, you have to unscrew these small retaining pieces on the sides. Fortunately, the case already comes with a magnetically attached tool for this exact reason. After that, the camera just slides into the position from the back of the cage and rests against the rubber pads. Can we appreciate the thoughtful design here for a second? When the camera is in the cage, it won't get scratched, and this may even help absorb small bumps. As usual, the cage gets screwed into place with a 1/4-inch screw at the bottom, but the camera also gets held with these retaining pieces that slot into the strap loops, so there's zero chance that the camera will rotate in the cage, which can definitely be a problem with some other cages. Let's talk about my observations about this cage. It boasts a full access design where the cage doesn't block any buttons, and let me tell you, I didn't realize how important this was until I've actually tried it. My old Nitsa cage on Mark I had pretty good button access, but recording button was still quite tedious to reach, so I had to buy a separate handle with an external record button just to overcome this issue. But this cage doesn't have that problem. The mode selector can be operated quite easily. However, if you have fat fingers, the backside of the selector can be quite difficult to reach. The drive mode dial is a little bit easier to reach because the front is more open. Port access is also excellent, with plenty of room to spare when the doors are open. Hard door opens without a problem, and so does the battery door. The right side of the cage makes a small bump, but it hugs the frame super tight and makes the camera even more pleasant to hold. The left side of the frame protrudes in front of the camera and thus makes another very nice grab point, and I have found myself often picking up the camera with my left hand. There are mounting points for a wrist strap on the right side, but I don't have one, so I cannot vouch for how comfortable that is. What I do have though is a Peak Design neck strap, and that is also an option with this cage. However, the anchor points are a bit offset, and it does put a camera in a little bit of an awkward, unbalanced state, but it isn't too bad. What I find annoying, however, is that the strap keeps rubbing on the corner of the cage when hanging on the neck, and the wear is clearly visible on the clip after a couple of short sessions of me wearing the camera. The top of the cage has 5 1/4-inch holes and a central 3/8 hour locating hole for the handle. The camera's hot shoe remains accessible and is compatible with Panasonic XLR1. However, I use it for my Rode wireless receiver. On the top left, there is a cold shoe slot that is a bit at an angle, and it is most likely meant for a shotgun microphone, but be aware that it is a pass-through, so make sure to screw your microphone in tight so it doesn't fall off. Both sides of the cage have 3 1/4-inch holes and an Arri locating hole. However, left side also doubles as a NATO rail, so you can quickly attach a side handle. The bottom has 5 1/4-inch holes and a single 3/8 hole for bottom plate attachment. But the bottom plate is probably not something that you're going to need, because the bottom itself is Arca Swiss compatible. This means I can quickly mount this camera on different angles in my studio, and when I'm on the go, it's out-of-the-box compatible with my Peak Design travel tripod. It is very neat, and I no longer have to be swapping my bottom plates for different shoots. Now let me show you another killer feature that makes this cage indispensable in my daily use. It is made for DJI Ronin gimbal. It says RS2 at the bottom of the cage, but I have an RS3 and it fits perfectly. By the way, did you know that a Ronin plate is actually a Manfrotto plate? This allows me to put the camera on the tripod without using any screws. This versatility to switch between studio, handheld, multiple tripods, and a gimbal is what makes this cage a must-have for any S5 Mark II owner. And before we continue, I would like to kindly ask you to hit that like button if you found this video useful so far. It really helps a small channel like myself. In the front, there is a 1/4-inch hole for a focus motor, but if you want to use a Ronin focus motor, then you will have to purchase a 1/4-inch to M12 adapter screw and a 12 to 15mm rod adapter, both totaling around 25 euros. Now let's move on to the top handle. It attaches to the ARRI locating hole. This is not as convenient as a mater rail, but it's not too bad. And with the handle attached, the camera balance is absolutely amazing. The center of gravity is right on the attachment point, and this makes wielding the camera an absolute breeze. When my camera operator held this setup for the first time, she immediately fell in love with it. The handle is extremely lightweight, coming in at only 122 grams, and it has soft silicone at the bottom for even more comfortable grip. On the angled side of the grip, there is an ARRI locating hole for monitor mount. On the top of the handle, there is a locking cold shoe mount, as well as an ARRI locating hole, perfect for an easy rig line. And then there are these 4 1/4-inch holes for more mounting options. The handle can also be reconfigured to be mounted sideways. It is a rare use case, but I'm sure someone will find it useful for some corner case. Finally, there is this cable clamp that comes in a set, and I'm personally not a fan of the cable clamps in such a dynamic setup because it just gets in the way, but should you need to use it, it is an option. One side of the clamp is rubberized, and these grippy pieces have clever diagonal design so that they don't come undone. These screws are also compatible with the tool that comes with the cage. Now there is also a small con with this case. Due to its design, the cage flexes a bit when I pick it up by the top handle with the full tripod setup. I know it's a small caveat, but I'm pretty used to doing that with my Mark I rig, and I need to retrain myself to avoid doing that. But yeah, it's a very small thing indeed. So what do you think about the Black Mamba cage? Do you already have one, or did this video make you consider getting one? Let me know in the comments. Also, let me know if you found some other cool use cases with it. And if you've reached this part of the video, you gotta subscribe. It means a lot to a small channel like myself. But with that said, I'll see you in another video.